What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, and today we're sitting down and comparing the New Balance Rebel V2 against the Asics NOVABLAST and the Hoka One One MACH 4. So welcome back to another video, and today I'm delighted to sit down and go through a comparison video with you on these three awesome shoes. Now, ever since I bought the New Balance Rebel version 2, there's been a lot of questions with regards to comparing to the Asics NOVABLAST and of course the Hoka One One MACH 4. Now for me, these are three awesome shoes, and what I want to do today is sit down and go in more detail to these shoes about their strengths and weaknesses and how they compare against each other, so that if you're looking to purchase one of these three shoes, it might give you a little bit of an insight into which one might work a little bit more for you and which one might not. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the Rebel. So just before we dive into today's video, I just want to clarify that this is going to be more of a pros and cons video and hopefully give you guys a better idea if you're looking at any of these three shoes, which one you might want to favour or choose. This is not a technical overview. All of that has been done in previous videos. So if you head back onto the channel, search up the shoe name, NOVABLAST, MACH 4, Rebel V2. You can check out first impressions, speed and long run tests after 100, 200, 300 mile reviews on each of these shoes, bar this one because we're not there yet on this one. And you can get more information on how testing's gone. So today I kind of want to guide you in the direction as to how these things stack up against each other. So with that confirmed and out of the way, let's dive into the pros and cons of the Rebel V2. So there's two cons, there's one con, two pros, and something that you guys will be aware of, which may or may not determine whether you want to get this shoe or not. So the pros for me in this shoe is it's a super lightweight package, and it is the best jack of all trades shoe out of the three of these. Does that make sense? It's the most efficient across the distances. So in terms of lightweight, it is just beautiful. The third lightest shoe I have ever tried. And for me in my UK size 13, that's saying something. So it's great to have a nice lightweight shoe, but you don't compromise in comfort. This fuel cell midsole is so soft, so bouncy, very comparable with the NOVABLAST. It just feels great. So you're getting great comfort in the shoe in a super, super lightweight package. And I really, really appreciate that. If you saw my video about daily trainers not so long ago and the evolution of them, I talked a little bit about how the old school classic heavier daily trainers are now being met with these things, which for me are a great daily trainer option, but in a much lighter package. And I much prefer to run in these lightweight shoes. So that's great. And as I said, in all the testing I've done so far, this feels the most efficient shoe from easy paces all the way up to the speed run tests that we've done, faster intervals. This is probably the best all-round shoe. So if you're looking for something to cover all bases, then this is certainly something to consider. Now the thing I want to mention that will either sway you or not sway you is that this shoe, you definitely have more ground contact feel than any of the other shoes, and that's going to be down to a lesser stack height in the forefoot. A few of you have mentioned this in more recent videos, and I 100% agree with you. You do have a more ground contact time, more ground contact feel with this shoe. So despite its sponginess, you do sink and bounce. This is a very much a land sink bounce type of shoe, very much like the Next Percent. The foam really does compress so much, and you do get to feel a lot more of that ground. For me, it's a nice change when you do run. I've got a place for shoes with lower stack and higher stack in my rotation, and it is nice to have these types of shoes in your rotation and mix it up with some bigger stack shoes. Now the only con that you're going to find in this shoe, again very similar to the NOVABLAST, is the fact that the fuel cell midsole is super soft, and some people do struggle and are struggling and have struggled with stability in this shoe and sore ankles, post tib area, that sort of thing. Now obviously everything we review today is going to be a neutral shoe. So none of these have stability, but with the super soft foam, naturally you're going to have a little bit more of ankle wobble, a little bit more pronation. You've probably seen this in my videos. As I land, my ankles do roll in a little bit more in this shoe, and that has determined how you guys, I read your comments, that has determined how a lot of you guys use it. Some of you love this shoe but can only take it to 10-12 miles or 10-12k, whatever it might be. You can't do long runs in them because you find your legs and ankles hurt afterwards. Totally understandable. It's going to be down to personal preference, so that's one thing to watch out for, but overall a quality shoe. So then we shift our attention to the Asics NOVABLAST. This shoe was my shoe of 2020. As you guys know, this has got now 408 or 410 miles in it and going strong. So let's go through the pros and cons of this shoe and compare that against the Rebel V2. So very similarly to the Rebel V2, we're going to have that super cushioned bouncy feel. Again, this is a sink and bounce type of shoe. Comfort levels are through the roof, but we have more stack height in this shoe, so you're not going to get that ground contact feel that you get with the Rebel. This is much more like bordering a max cushion shoe, but with incredible bounce. This was obviously very revolutionary when it came out with this Flight Foam Blast midsole. Absolutely, I'd felt nothing like this. Obviously we've got Zoom X, but that was combined with a carbon plate when we were all using it with the Next Percent. This without a plate still felt really good. And there were so many of us that shared comments saying, God, you imagine this with a plate. Well, now Asics are delivering with all their super shoes, which I can't try because they don't do my size. But that aside, a super soft cushion bouncy ride, just like the Rebel. You're just not going to get that ground contact feel. So a bit more stack, certainly more geared up for those easier and moderate paces and less of the speed work. Now I have used this shoe through everything. I've used it on 400-meter repeats on the track right through to easy, slow, long runs. And I've got to say, as I just said, the Rebel 2 has to take the most efficient jack of all trades. Like, I will use this for every pace, but I think with the Rebel's lightweight package, it probably does offer a better all-round experience if you're looking for something that can do everything. You know, it's down to personal preference. I like to use this on speed work, but it is heavier. It's a lot heavier than that. But this thing shines because of its durability. As I said, 410 miles, and literally it is showing very minimal signs of wear and tear. That is the only snag in the upper that I have. On the other shoe, it's absolutely fine. So again, comfort levels on this thing were through the roof. Not only that, I had a nice wide toe box. A lot of you guys had to half size down with this shoe. I actually stuck true to size. I like the space. I have a full thumb width in the front. Oh, sorry, there we go. There's a little hole snagging there in the forefoot. I've got a full thumb width in this shoe. Lovely open toe box. My toes can splay in this shoe, and that's one of the main things why I really love this shoe. You've got the incredible bounce, you've got the incredible comfort levels, and you've just got miles and miles of endless fun in this shoe. Only con, exactly the same as the Rebel V2. Some of you found it unstable. It's going to cause a bit of extra pronation. Some people keep it to shorter runs. You like it, but you can't go long run in it. Again, I don't suffer with that, but that's the only thing to be aware of. So for me, where I would say the Rebel V2 excels in being a great jack of all trades shoe, I would still say this is a great jack of all trades shoe, but because of its weight, maybe slightly less on the top end. But what you're going to miss out there, you're going to get in abundance with fun, smiles on your face, and durability. And finally, we move on to the Hoka One One MACH 4, a shoe that did not light up my world in the beginning, but I have just come back to this shoe time and time again. It's really grown on me to the point now where, as you've probably all seen, I've just released my 200-mile video and my next long-term review video of the year. It's been a shoe that I have wanted to slot into the rotation week in, week out, and that's testament, because obviously I test a lot of shoes and there's only a handful that I end up taking over 100 miles, and this thing was first on my list to do that with. So that's really great. And let's go through the pros and the cons of this one. I think a massive pro for me, the three shoes, this is the most comfortable fitting upper of the three shoes. So in terms of comfort, when you slip your foot in, it's one of the reasons why I reach for this so much, is comfort levels. It puts a smile on your face when you put your foot in there. It's just a great feeling shoe. And not only that, you're going to get a completely different ride to the other two shoes, but you are going to get a little bit more stability. Again, for clarification, these are neutral shoes, but with the wider base and a firmer combined dual layer midsole, you are going to get a very different ride. There's none of this bounce and pop sensation with this shoe. This is very much a smooth gliding shoe. So if you're looking for something a little bit less edgy and a little bit more just smooth, tick off the miles one by one, it's what Hoka does best. It really is what they do best. And again, that's what you're going to get with this shoe. So you've got comfort levels in abundance, you've got a lovely gliding sensation with a little bit more stability. Pace ranges, I really would say I would stick from easy range up to marathon pace. Half marathon and above, it gets a little bit more of a struggle just because the midsole doesn't have that pop that I often find in the other two shoes and some of the other shoes I test. So it kind of lacks that extra oomph that I need for that top end speed work. So that's a guess. When you're comparing to these three shoes, I would rather stick one of those two on if I was doing some real top end stuff, probably the Rebel first, then the NOVABLAST, and then this thing. But in terms of easy to moderate and marathon pace, this is the shoe for you. It can certainly hold its own. I guess the downside is going to be durability. We all know Hoka's don't last particularly a long time, and that tends to be down to the use of their standard EVA foam. EVA foam doesn't have the longest shelf life. However, this thing does have a layer of Pro-Fly midsole in between, which is not the standard EVA. We've got the EVA rubber on the outsole, so that's the bottom layer. So that combined with the Pro-Fly is going to get this thing to last a little bit longer. But in terms of the three shoes, I have a feeling this thing is going to go kaput first. So durability is not that great. In terms of, well, it's still good, but it's not going to be as good as the others. In terms of ride, again, this is personal preference. A firmer but glide ride kind of sensation, just as smooth as butter and super, super comfortable upper, which means those easy, moderate and marathon pace miles are absolutely taken care of. So there we go, that's my comparison on the three shoes. We have three fantastic offerings here from three different brands that I have absolutely loved putting the miles in. So let's kind of draw this to a conclusion and put it in a bit of a nutshell for you guys. Hopefully the pros and cons will have helped understand each shoe's strengths and weaknesses. So if someone came to me and asked me various questions about shoes, this is probably what I'm going to say to them. Do you like a softer, more bouncier ride in your shoe? Would you like something that's a bit firmer and glides across the ground? Obviously, if they're going to say the firmer gliding shoe, then instantly I'm going to say, well, the Rebel and the NOVABLAST are probably not what you're looking for. The Hoka is going to do a great job for you, but we've got to remember that with the Hoka, for me, that top end speed is definitely missing. So you're going to want to have something else in your rotation to cover that top end work. As long as you're happy with a shoe that's going to take easy, moderate, marathon pace miles, half marathon at a push, but really cap it around the marathon pace, then the Mach 4 is for you. If you're looking for something softer and bouncy and you love that cushioning, then the Rebel V2 and the NOVABLAST are definitely the two shoes for you. Which one would I say for each person? Well, if someone came to me and said, look, I'm looking for a jack of all trades shoe that's going to cover everything. I just need one shoe in my rotation. I'm not a rotation kind of guy or gal. I just need one shoe, one good shoe. Then it's going to be probably the Rebel, because it's lighter, it can do everything more efficiently. They're a serious kind of training person, you know, they do take their top end speed training seriously, then yeah, the Rebel's going to be something for them. If they're looking for something that's super soft, super cushioned, but they've already got a top end shoe, and they're looking for something to soak up all those daily miles and everything in between, then I will 100% say the NOVABLAST. And for clarification, the NOVABLAST is still my favourite shoe. The Rebel V2 is so close, but I really hold such a soft spot in my heart for the NOVABLAST. Now for me, the NOVABLAST, as I said, easy right the way through. I will do speed work in it. It does start to feel a little bit heavy, but what the NOVABLAST has done for me over the years is with that, over the last years, with that 10mm drop, it's allowed me to come back from injury quite a lot. I've used that shoe in recovery from injuries because it relieves tension on my calves and Achilles, and it's soft, so my body takes less of a beating, and that's another massive pro that shoe has. It has literally nursed me back to full fitness on so many occasions, which is great. So you've got three different shoes there, all with different purposes, and hopefully that explains it as best as possible. If you have any other questions, please do feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you on your thoughts on each of these shoes. Do you have one, two, or all three of them? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree? We'd love to hear your thoughts, and let's get that conversation going. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.